Hi, I'm Matt Gaston, the lead pastor here at First United Methodist Church of Plano, and I want to first thank you for being such a faithful attendant to what has been our 7-week series on our Wesleyan roots. It's really wound up being an exciting time of learning and renewal and a real sense of pride in understanding who we are distinctively as Wesleyan Christians. It seems to me to be a natural step to move now into our Lenten series. Lent, of course, beginning tomorrow night with Ash Wednesday at 7 o'clock. My train of consciousness works sort of like this. Thinking about ashes, I immediately go dust to dust, ashes to ashes, which then takes me to the soil. And it is about that time where we start preparing our gardens. Now, my wife will kill me for saying this, but I have a picture of her, and she who loves to garden, a picture of her, not knowing I'm taking the picture, lying down flat in the just tilled soil of the garden that we're about to plant. And I love that picture because it absolutely recognizes the oneness that she feels with God's good earth, with God's good earth that will bring forth fruits and vegetables abundant for the months to come. One with the Creator God in a veritable garden. That's going to be the theme, really, for our next 6 weeks of Lent. It has the unusual title, At-one-ment. The picture of my wife lying on the ground really speaks to the at-one-ment with God in God's incredible, gracious creation. The grace, which we've just spent 7 weeks talking about, always showered upon us, that we in turn might bring and be good gifts, good fruitfulness for the sake of the world. In this 6-week series, At-one-ment, we're going to be talking about gardens that you've heard of. The Garden of Eden, a sower who puts seed out on the ground in order to grow plants in a garden. The Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus knelt and prayed that a cup pass from him. And then the garden tomb, where Jesus rises and makes himself known to Mary, the other women, and eventually the disciples. At-one-ment is really a playful way of talking about atonement, spelled the same way. Because it's my belief that throughout the Scripture, God is seeking desperately, as we talked about with Prevenient Grace during our Wesleyan Roots series, God is seeking desperately to be at one with us, God's wayward children, who are always running away, running around, and not seeking God in the way that God is seeking us. During the Lenten season, we're given an opportunity to reflect on how it is that we might respond prayerfully, actively, intentionally, with great appreciation, great thanksgiving, and great love to the God who's always loved and is loving us. At-one-ment talks about that journey of sanctification where we seek to become more Christ-like. The Lenten journey is designed to be just that. Whether by the things that we give up or the things that we take on for these 40 days of Lent, what we're seeking is a greater at-one-ment with God. Also, during this series of stepping through various settings of garden, where God, like in the Garden of Eden, was at one with God's creation, at one with the first human beings, I'll also be talking about that word atonement. That's something we've always heard about, but it's not something we often hear about much from the pulpit. So for 2 Sundays during this Lenten series, I'm going to ask the question, what happened on the cross? There are different understandings of what Jesus did for us on the cross, different ways of understanding that holy activity that God did on behalf of all creation in being at one with Jesus of Nazareth, and in so doing, becoming one with all of us. That work, that great act of love was essentially done on the cross. But what happened there? I want to talk about that for a couple of weeks before we get to Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter, and quickly move on that Sunday to the Passion, where Jesus again is at the Garden of Gethsemane, wrestling with his at-one-ment and his fear with humanity and his pending death. Lord, if it be possible, may this cup pass by me, but also his at-one-ment with his Father. Lord, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. Jesus, seeking at-one-ment with the Father, seeking at-one-ment with his own humanity and all of us. We'll talk about that on Palm Sunday, Passion Sunday, before we then move through Holy Week with special services on Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, before, of course, the celebration of Easter. It'll begin in the morning with the sunrise service and continue with our normal services at 9 and 11. It is going to be a journey not just through the season of Lent, but through gardens and unavoidably to the cross, and then unavoidably to a garden tomb where new life springs anew. Not just for the day, not just for the season, but for all people, all the time. I invite you to join us in this Lenten series. Again, Ash Wednesday begins tomorrow. It begins that journey in the sanctuary at 7 o'clock, live and virtual. But if you need your ashes imposed upon your forehead, come join us. We'll meet you at the prayer rail with arms open wide. I'm Matt Gaston, the lead pastor of First United Methodist Church of Plano, and we welcome you to this journey through the garden. God bless.